You're not close enough
Use
to
your
the
body
truck.
weight
You're
and
gonna
lift your
snap
foot
the
there and
branch.
there.
With my time here in Perth coming to an end, I want to share with you some of the adventures that took place in between the challenges during this part of the trip. Some of these adventures include checking out some of the sights around the city, taking a fun crack at Randy's ever-consuming phone addiction, embarking on a quest to see some kangaroos, and also Randy climbing a tree in the middle of the night? I can't say I was expecting that. And it all first begins back in Adelaide, where I had to make the flight to Perth first. So I had to pack up my things, which included so many treats that I had left. And this is always a bit of a double-edged sword for me. Yes, the treats are awesome and absolutely appreciated when gifted from fans. But man, as someone who doesn't practice the dark arts and he keeps what he eats, these little treats, they pack on the pounds real quick. And that's why on these trips, oversized shirts, stretchy shorts, and sweatpants, they are my best friend here.
And it's an early one as we got to the airport at 4:30 as we were getting ready for our flight that's at 6:30. And we just got through security and everything, just gonna be waiting for our flight.
Now once I arrived in Perth, I was met by our friends Ree and Chris, and I'd actually be staying with Ree and her significant other Pete, who we will eventually meet. And once I got to their place, I unpacked my things, introduced myself to some of the other guests at the house, and then it was time to embark on my first food adventure. We eventually made it to our destination, at a place called Top Dog in Town, where they host the Mega Dog Challenge. And here's a little juicy bit about this particular adventure. I actually decided to skip on this challenge. Now, sometimes there's challenges that I'm just kind of on the fence about, like this one, because for this challenge, you have to break the record in order to win. So if Randy and I were both going to do it, whoever went second would be at an even bigger disadvantage. And to be honest, neither one of us knew if we would be able to take it down. Then if you start to take into consideration things like not knowing if the restaurant is going to play fair or not with their portions on this challenge, I decided to pass on this one and let the big man take a crack at it. But there was no way I was going to leave here empty-handed. Or with an empty stomach in this case, because these gourmet looking dogs looked fantastic and seemed like the kind of thing you'd really want to take your time to enjoy. And with so many varieties that looked so good, it was hard to figure out which one I was going to go with. But in the end, I went with their Lord of the Rings dog, which comes freshly toasted on their par-baked roll and includes garlic butter, Vienna sausage wrapped in beer-battered onion rings, and then it's all covered in barbecue sauce, creamy garlic aioli, and then it's finished off with some fresh chives. And along with that, I ordered a side of their peanutella fries, which, oh my goodness, was this divine. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not the last time I'm gonna have this combination. Now, thanks to our incredible hosts, we were able to check out some awesome tourist attractions, expansive views, and all-around incredible sights, including the War Memorial at Kings Park, which is one of the most popular historic monuments in all of Perth, and it contains all the names of the men and women from Western Australia who gave their lives during World War I. Then we also checked out the Glass Arched Bridge, also at Kings Park, which a glass bridge to me sounds a bit sus, but I didn't think about it too much, as I just told myself, if there were people in front of me and they didn't seem to mind, I don't think I would either. Now, I'm only joking there a bit because only part of it's made of glass. And honestly, this bridge is pretty cool. You're basically around like 170 feet in the air. And as you're walking on this bridge, you're walking alongside some of the treetops. And the views are pretty spectacular. Well, at least I thought so. Then after the bridge, we checked out more of the city itself. And we also made it to an aquarium, which I can't say I've been to one quite like this. Like here, where you could actually touch and interact with starfish. And of course, there were a ton of different things to check out here. I thought seeing the jellyfish here were pretty neat, but probably my favorite thing here was going through the underground moving pathway, where as you walk through it, you are just completely surrounded by all the aquatic wildlife as it moves around you. It was an experience unlike I've ever had before. Something I get asked often about these trips is how I deal with the weight gain, and if I do any sort of special weight training or anything like that while on these trips. And the answer is, well, I always come with good intentions, but it's not much of a thing, if at all, on these trips. Because even as you see here, I'm trying to get in somewhat of a workout in, but it's really difficult. I mean, you're in a different environment and you're not quite used to having the same habits, and then with all the traveling and the fact that with all these different foods I'm eating, and particularly embarking on the food challenges, I just find it to be very difficult to get myself to do an actual workout, which is also why I just prefer to keep the activity levels up with all the different sightseeing as I go from city to city. Or even just walking around the neighborhood like I'm doing here. And FYI, in this case, I eventually got lost and ended up stumbling into a store that I swear was at least half candy, which is why I felt directly targeted by this booby trap. But as I mentioned before, because I'm not a user of the dark arts in any of its forms, and I keep what I eat, I have to constantly remind myself that there are significant consequences to my actions. Because while I do want to enjoy myself, each time that I'm gonna have a treat, it comes with additional weight gain, which will have a negative impact on my overall food fighting powers as the trip continues. And being ready for those battles at hand are my #1 priority on any given food challenge tour. So in this case, even with those tempting discounts, yeah, that's right, I see you over there, Mr. 99-cent Tim Tams, I was still able to pull myself away, and I did eventually find my way back to the house. I'm gonna get you caught up on Randy's condition, and by that, I mean his ever oh so growing, oh so all-consuming phone addiction. If you've been watching any number of videos from this trip, you can probably already guess it hasn't gotten any better. In fact, if anything, it's gotten worse. And once we made it to Whiteman Park to check out the Woodland Reserve and go into the bush walking trails in search of some kangaroos, Randy was really in need of getting his fix.
Do you mind if I get that external?
What do you want, Randy?
I would like to use the battery because my phone has a weak battery.
From so much usage, because you're addicted to your phone, Randy.
Well, I was working. I was working on.
Admit it, Randy. You can have it.
Planning Brisbane, Singapore, and doing a lot of various things for the company to help us grow worldwide. Reputable company.
Yep. I'll take that as an admission.
Give me the external.
You could have just said it. I need photos.
Thanks, sir. Now I can finally get back on my phone.
At least he admits it.
And at this point, it's really out of my hands. I don't think there's anything I can do to help him. I really think the only solution here would be for viewers like you to give him some sort of peer pressure to not spend so much time on his phone. As for myself, I just continue to document his addiction while enjoying my adventures here in the outback trails.
Yeah, going off the main road, this is where things get sketchy. This is where the wild Pokemon appear. This is where all the battles happen. Alright, so we completed one area, no life whatsoever, maybe a few birds at best. So now we're moving on to the next, looking for kangaroos or something besides birds, but it's pretty desolate out here. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be falling into a trap anytime soon, so we're keeping our wits about us. Keep an eye out for anything suspicious, but we'll see what happens.
One eternity later.
Alright, so after seeing all kinds of wildlife, we're gonna be making our way back. Tons of sights, I know, it was crazy. It's all kinds of wildlife, as you guys saw. But you know what? Not all adventures are thrilling. It is what it is, I guess. But anyways, let's keep on, keep on. Pull, Randy, watch out.
Actually, it wasn't an entirely lost cause, as we eventually did spot some kangaroos. And even though there was some fencing to separate us from the kangaroos, both Randy and I thought it would be best to keep our distance and just observe them from afar. Okay, I just have to throw this in here for funsies, but during one of the days, where the weather outside wasn't the greatest, we decided to check out one of the larger malls in the area. And it was here that I decided to conduct an experiment, to see how long it would take Randy to realize I wasn't near him, as I'd be filming him the entire time he was on his phone. And it turns out the answer is nearly 15 minutes. Also, I have to give credit to Chris and Ree for playing along here, as we all had a great laugh once Randy realized what was going on. And with that being said, if you want to see exclusive content, which includes more documentation of Randy's addiction, because there's so much of it and there's no way I could fit it all into one single video, and you can gain access to more magical awards, benefits, and perks, all while supporting the content I create, then consider becoming a member of the Adventurers Guild, which you can check out by clicking the link in the description down below. So this is definitely one of the more off-the-rails types of adventures that took place during this part of the trip, as we went to go visit some friends of Ree and Pete's, and things took a very unexpected turn.
So do you even know what you're doing yet?
No, I think I'm gonna climb a gumball tree.
Yeah, so the big man himself was talked into climbing up a gumball tree somewhere out in the outback in the middle of the night, and I don't see how anything could go wrong here, which is exactly why I wanted to film it, so enjoy this adventure as it unfolds.
A bushwalk in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Only in Australia.
I reckon it's a good tree for Randy to climb.
No,
just there looking at the
I'm not climbing a tree.
Go, Randy.
Go, Randy.
Go, Randy. Look, Randy.
Come, Randy, look at this chair. Look, it's quite easy, Randy.
I am not.
My soul could get up there. Here you go.
At least to the next branch.
Oh, seriously, Randy.
Come on, Randy.
One more.
You don't go down.
No,
Randy.
no. You're not close enough
Use
to
your
the
body
top.
weight
You're
and lift
gonna
your foot
snap
there
the
and
branch.
Randy,
Up.
keep your feet close to this, Randy. That's the strong point.
No, but like
That's it, Randy. That's it, Randy. That's it, Randy. Randy.
Go, Randy.
Go, Randy. No, Randy. Come close.
Close to the base, close to the base.
Yeah, close to the base, Randy.
it's a koala, go play.
Okay, does this count? This counts as...
There's a koala.
Somebody get a photo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, come on.
I did it, Mom.
And if you made it this far into the video, let me know what your favorite part of these adventures were and use the hashtag #MyFavoritePart, and I'll see you in the next adventure.